that world heavyweight float. Championship belt wrapped around my waist, yo, I got that Ric Flair figure foe. Slam you on the pavement, that's why they call me Street Pro. Create heat on beat flow. Like Jordan after the second time he three-peated, folks. Get ready, set, let's go. Fight toe to toe, release the flow created by this micro. Lights, camera, get low. Action packed, back to back, in fact this monster will grow. Y'all better let him know. Man with the master plan and you have no need to know. You came prepared, now get ready for the show. Introducing the Ballin' Bud 703 Boys Crew, Clubber D, Dirty Mojo, Shane Peach, and the Sports Professor. Welcome to Sunday Showdown.
Yerp.
Yo. What up, friends? Welcome, Ballin' Buds, back at it again. 3 days in a row. Today is Monday Showdown. Make sure you're subscribed at Ballin' Buds, BALLANDBUDS. Handy QR code up there at the top. We'll have Clubber D's YouTube as well at Clubber D. You can find Dirty Mojo on IG at Dirty Mojo. Missing Peach today. Not sure. He might have overslept again like the past 2 times. We'll see what he has to say for himself. Hit that like button, whether watching now or on the replay. It really helps us out, and we would like to wish everybody a happy Martin Luther King Day to everybody out there today. We honor a man today that moved this country forward in a way that, has not many people have done. Let's just say it that way. We celebrate the things that he did to bring this country and the people in this country together. He was the opposite of what we see now in the divisiveness that we see now in this country. But how do y'all feel about Martin Luther King's impact? Anyone have any words on that they want to say?
I mean, you can just see it. This man has murals and pictures and things like that all over the world. So for a man to do that in the climate of America at that time is phenomenal. And people act like it was 1,000 years ago. Is barely a generation away. This is a day definitely everyone should respect. And some people don't care. A lot of people do care. And a lot of people aren't taught all the things that he did in school, which is pretty sad, but that's another story for another day.
Right. For everything that he's done for the country,
Dirty Mojo,
the way, like you guys said, man, the way he fought for this country, as far as this peaceful protesting and trying to with the civil rights, trying to get the equal rights of men across the board. I mean, that's something that'll never be forgotten for hundreds and hundreds of years. Martin Luther King will be cherished and learned about. So, I mean, I'm saying, I'm glad that there's a black man that went out there and showed people how you can be a peaceful person and get things done in this country. So, thank you for him, because without him, there's a lot of stuff that a lot of us wouldn't be able to do today. Maybe even something like this podcast. So, I'm proud to be, to have that guy. He fought for my rights, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah, completely right. And this is one of my favorite quotes from him whenever I want to think about giving up on something I'm doing. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. And that's what we got to do. We always got to keep moving forward in whichever way that is in your life. However you choose to do that is best. But, progress, peace, love are things that he proclaimed and things that we still, as Dirty Mojo said, cherish to this day. So thank you, and may he rest in power. All right, cool. So thank you to everybody tuning in. Again, hit that like button and subscribe to Ballin' Buds. We are going to talk football today. We will review the game from last night, and as well, the rest of the episode will be spent all on college football. So we're super excited to get into that. Let's go ahead and kick it off with, as we mentioned, the game from last night. We did have the Los Angeles Rams over the Chicago Bears 20-17 in an absolute thriller last night. Caleb Williams made one of the best throws you will ever see in your life, improbable. But it was not enough as the Rams were able to come back and win that game. Clubber, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the magic runs out in the fourth quarter, apparently. When it got to overtime, that terrible interception, I was like, oh, damn, bro. That's why, I wonder why Peach isn't here, because he would have been ragging on Caleb Williams, oh, he's da. But it's a good thing that he's not here. Probably dreaming about what he'd say. I put it like this. I said this to Lamar before we started the show. We're just chilling. Ben Johnson, just because you were the OC in Detroit does not mean you have to have Detroit activities in your play calling. Take the points, okay? You are right there. Take the points. There's no need to go for it all the time on fourth down when you can get a field goal and get some points. Let's have common sense. You get paid a lot more than I do, but I would think I would want to take the points to that matter. Because if you would took those points, you would have to go to overtime. You know what I mean? And I'll say for Caleb, the last throw and catch against the Packers was phenomenal. But now you're backpedaling like you're playing Tecmo Bowl, and you just chuck it down the field. He's like playing Tecmo Bowl and just chucks it down the field and gets a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? It's phenomenal. So I give him, Caleb, you got all the respect in my book. It's just too much of a gunslinger at times.
Yeah, I wonder, because we also saw CJ Stroud throw 4 interceptions. So I wonder if it's the young nature of the quarterbacks and them being fearless sort of thing. But yeah, you've got to take better care of the ball, and especially in overtime when your whole team's postseason and Super Bowl, possibilities depend on you not throwing that interception in overtime, Dirty Mojo.
Yeah, I don't want to blame him for that, though. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been watching, news, and I've been watching, analysis of the game, and the route was not ran very well by DJ Moore. It just wasn't ran very well.
He didn't break.
He didn't cut it a little shallow like he had supposed to. That route supposed to probably been about a 15-yard crosser. He took that thing about 25 yards. And then he didn't really go full speed on it once the ball was thrown, and Caleb Williams was throwing the ball to a spot that he was supposed to be at. Now, I guess a little bit of tenure and a little bit of being there for a while would cause you to hold on to that thing and not throw that ball. But I want to go back to what Dion said. You can't turn over, you can't give up points, and for you to go for it on fourth down and not get it, that's a huge momentum change, and especially what it is. We always say that when you do trick plays, like, you talked about it the other day, Dion, with San Francisco, when you do trick plays, you only really run trick plays because you don't think you can win the game. That's what we say as coaches, right? And then for us also as coaches, we also say that when you're going for it on fourth down and you don't need to, you don't have faith in your defense. And I don't understand why he wouldn't have faith in his defense. The game was you could tell that this game was actually affected by the weather, but it was affected by the weather for both teams. A lot of guys were dropping the balls. A lot of guys were slipping out of routes. It was a really good game to watch because there was a lot of factor across the board for everything. So at that point, you can't really hold it to Caleb Williams because I think he played a phenomenal game. I think he did what he could do as best as he could do with what he was put in. You know what I'm saying? But Coach Ben, you have to kick those field goals. If you kick those field goals the 2 times he went for it on fourth down, they're going down to kick the game-winning field goal with 16 seconds left, not going for a game-tying touchdown. So, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you gotta look at it like that, man. And I hate to say that. I know hindsight's 20/20, but he teetered on that the last week before. You got to get away from that, man. I know the analytics might say go for it, but I'm pretty sure the analytics are high too that you kick a field goal. So they never show that part of it. They only show the analytics say go for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 2. But what's the analytics say about kicking a field goal too?
Numbers lie sometimes.
They do.
I agree that you can't always. Sometimes you just have to be practical and take the points. And he showed this last week. I talked about this on the show, and I lamented how he went for it every first down in that first half last week. And again, just not taking points when they're put in front of you is in the end just going to make things more difficult. Now, obviously, if you're behind or there are certain situations, like maybe you've had a really good drive down the field and you're in their territory and you want to, maybe, take advantage of that, then okay. But to do it every time, all the time, just starts to kind of show like, well, are you just doing it just to do it now? Are you doing it to try to show that you know better than everyone else? Or because in the end, you're just hurting your team, honestly. Yeah. But those were not the only opportunities. The Bears had more than enough opportunities to win this game. You can argue that they should have won this game. There was the 4th and 2 on the opening drive that had the interception by Williams. They had the second quarter turnover on downs after a failed 3rd and 4th and 1. They also the 1st and goal at the Rams 5 in the 4th quarter. So there were a lot of times where they could have won this game, and they didn't. And the Rams, in my eyes, are the better team. And we talked about, and Peach mentioned a lot about them winning a lot of games close, and maybe them not be. Now he switched at the end, Trader. He switched at the end, but he was saying how they were barely winning and how that might be their demise, and it was here. So
that's a great point. That's a great point, Omar.
Any other thoughts on that?
Nah, better luck next year. I would say I don't know if it was you or Lamar said the young quarterbacks throwing interceptions and stuff. I wonder. I'm trying to think what were Bo Nix and May's numbers. I know May threw a couple too. But if Bo did the same thing.
I think Bo had one.
Bo had one. Okay.
Yeah, it was one to the lineman.
Everybody had at least one. So, it's a lot of inconsistencies and streakiness in the quarterbacks that we've seen, at least definitely in this round.
Yeah, I will say this.
And Peach mentioned that from the draft. Yeah.
So my boy Leroy hit me up, and Leroy's he's a Chicago Bears fan. He's a Chicago everything fan, and he told me, he said it was it was a bad loss for them. It sucks to go out like this, but he was actually very, very excited about what this team could do for next year. And I told him the same thing. I said it wouldn't surprise me if you guys won the NFC North again next year. You guys right now seem to be the best team in the NFC North, and if you guys can figure out that first half, play, you guys are probably one of the better teams in the NFL. So, he's got a lot to look forward to. And I think any Bears fans that's listening to this, you guys got a lot to look forward to from last year, winning only 4 games last year, to being the NFC champions and have the NFC North champions and having the number 2 pick in the not the number 2 pick, but the number 2 seed in the draft. Man, that's phenomenal, man. That's a lot to look forward to. You guys are going to be able to have, for the first time in and I don't know how many years, you're going to be able to have the same offensive coordinator on your team. I know for the last 6 or 7 years, they've changed their offensive coordinator every single year. So you're going to be able to build off of what you guys did this year. So keep your heads up high. I know it sucks, and I know you don't want to hear that from a fan, but that's something to look forward to. A lot of teams don't have nothing to look forward to next year, but you guys sure do.
Got to have continuity.
Yep, no, definitely correct. So we'll see if they are able to parlay that next year. Now, as always, we saw what happened with the Redskins. That can quickly change. That's, God forbid any injuries on anyone. But, we saw what happened with Jaden Daniels. Anything can happen in the NFL is what I'm trying to say. So, but,
correct.
They have a good enough nucleus and base to capitalize on. All right. Well, before we move into college football, let's talk some other NFL news. NFL coaching changes. Wowzers. We've had a lot of them so far, and we'll start with you, Dirty Mojo, because your Falcons decided to move on from Raheem Morris, who, yes, maligned last year for a lot of decisions and costing them victories, but a lot of experience with the organization and good experience as a head coach. Now you go to Kevin Stefanski, which one can argue was put in a very bad situation by the Browns. Or you could also argue that he just wasn't able to get as many wins as he could have out of his players, even though he was nominated for Coach of the Year, a couple times. He still was not able to get many wins, even though he had Myles Garrett. What are your thoughts on Kevin Stefanski to the Falcons?
So my first pick that I wanted for the Atlanta Falcons to take, it was Clint Kubiak with Seattle. I was, looking forward to, seeing what he did. And sorry, Dion, take a shot at you. What they did to the 49ers. I mean, that was something that I wanted to see our offense be able to do. And I know he's a Shanahan protege. I'm thinking Kubiak's not Kubiak. Stefanski's somewhat part of that Shanahan pipeline, also somewhere in the mix. But Stefanski might not have been my top pick, but I'm starting to like it a little bit more, and I'm a little bit more just learning a little bit about him. I've been looking up some stats on it, everything, and 3 years. His first 3 years that he was in Cleveland, the offense ran pretty good. They had an 11-5 record, I think it wasn't a 10-6 record, and they made it to the playoffs 2 of those 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
2 years that he won Coach of the Year. For some reason, I don't know why, but they relinquished the offensive play calling duties from him. I don't know why. I'll do a little bit more research and look into it, but I will say this, man. I didn't realize that in the 5 years that he was there, he's only had one or two first-round picks because the trade for Deshaun Watson gave up 3 first-round picks. He didn't have anybody to get there. Not only was it 3 first-round picks, it was like a second and a third, and then another second and a third. They had about $90 million tied up in 3 players, and one of those players didn't even get to play. So I'm a little skeptical about Tom Pease that was his offensive coordinator this year. I know there's a lot of talk about him coming with him. So if that happens, I'll be a little upset because I want to see him get away from what that guy did for Cleveland this year. As far as everybody else, we are keeping Brick. He is going to be there. You guys see I kind of got my Stefanski and Brick look going on with the beard, the grayed out beard and everything like that. But so I'm excited about that. We got to have an offensive-minded coach with a promising defense that we had this year, which I was very proud of. You guys know I talked to you guys about how we had the number 2 we were the number 2 ranked team in sacks this year, and then we have some really young guys that we drafted this year that did very well for us. So I'm excited about the defense and hope that Britt can continue to help that grow. So I'm looking forward to next year. I got to see what they do in the preseason, what they do in the offseason, because we don't have a first round pick, but I'm okay with it because I am Dion going to get that James Pierce Jr. jersey, bro. I know I talked to you about which one I should get, but I think I'm going to get a 27 James Pierce Jr.
That's good. That's at least a 5-year,
It's a good one. And we got the new uniforms coming out this year. So I'll have the new uniform for Atlanta with James Pierce Jr. jersey. I'll see what they do in the offseason along with what they do in the preseason so that when we have our show, Omar, here in August of this year, I might have a better outlook on what the Falcons would do in the NFC South.
I do have a question for you. Do you think with his track history with what he did for David Njoku, do you think that will have Kyle Pitts having more incentive to want to stay there? Or do you think Kyle Pitts is gone?
I think Kyle Pitts will remain. And I think the reason why Kyle Pitts will remain is because the offense with him, he had a really good season this year. He didn't have one of those seasons that was like that the typical, it's my contract year, so I'm going to have astronomical numbers. Mm-hmm. He had numbers that we wanted him to have while he's been in Atlanta. So I know I said this earlier in the year that screw up gone. I want him gone, but I would like to see him come back next year. You know what I'm saying? So if we were to get Kyle Pitts back next year, that would be a great addition. Well, keeping him would be awesome for us in the offense, and then also to see what we're gonna do with Kirk Cousins, because I know Kirk Cousins. I know that Stefanski was Kirk Cousins' offensive coordinator in Minnesota the one year that they went. I think it was 11-5, and they lost in the playoffs. I think in the second round they lost the playoffs, and then that year is when after that they lost. Stefanski ended up becoming the head coach for Cleveland. So we'll see what happens, man. We will see what happens.
All right, cool. Well, let's move on to the other one. Jim Harbaugh, Celebrity, his brother is the coach of your team. Jim Harbaugh goes to the New York Giants. Young nucleus, they're very good defense.
Wait a second. What happened? His brother is the coach of Dion's team? Dion is not a Chargers fan. You said Jim Harbaugh's brother. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Fitty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, we got it.
We got it in there already.
Jim Harbaugh, yes. Coach of the Chargers. Coach of the Chargers. You're right. Thank you for the correction. Coach of the Chargers. Anyways, I was trying to segue it somehow to. Anyways, it doesn't matter. What are your thoughts?
I don't know, because hearing on the radio with Harbaugh, a lot of the Ravens fans weren't too keen on him the last few years, but it's hard to complain when you're still relevant. Just like the coaching aspect as far as the challenges and clock management, things like that. A lot of Ravens fans up here from listening to radio weren't too happy about that. And a lot of them thinking Lamar Jackson kind of saved it inevitable for him with his departure. But I'm 50-50 on it. You know, it's a sexy pick for the Giants. It's a big marketplace. They're going to be on your ass up in New York. You have to do well, or at least trending towards that. What the thing he's going to have to do is, if Todd Monken goes with him, which I think he is, I think he can have an offense that keeps Jackson Dart safe. Okay, that's going to be the main thing. You keep him safe. Maybe use Scatterbo in a not as run heavy type offense, because these guys are not going to be durable the way they're playing. So, I mean, I'm eager to see who's going to be his defense coordinator. That's who it is. If he's going to bring, what's his name, or from the Ravens, or is going to be someone brand new, because that defense has a lot of monsters on our front line. So, I would like to see what team he's going to, what his staff's he's going to bring in. But it's to me, it's okay move for Giants. I'm not wowed by it, but I think it's okay.
You know, I'll step in and say though, the whole Monken, if Monken does go with them, I'm not sure if that keeps Jackson Dart healthy, because you know Monken came from Georgia, and that's when they had Stetson Bennett, and Stetson Bennett ran the ball a lot. They leaned on Stetson Bennett to run the ball a lot, and he was a smaller guy just like Jackson Dart. So and then he goes to Baltimore, where you now have Lamar Jackson. So I don't know if it'd be safe to say that he's going to draw up plays to keep Jackson Dart in the pocket, but he is an awesome offensive coordinator. I was kind of hoping that nobody would pick them up and he kind of goes back to Georgia so that we can go back on those runs. But yeah, if they can figure that part out, because I just don't know, man. Jackson Dart is one of those guys. I think he is a running style quarterback, and he's going to continue to run unless he figures it out, man. Because I hate to see this guy get KO'd again. And especially even with Scatterbo, you can't have both those guys go down. But it is a promising offense to look at, to have Jackson Dart, Scatterbo, and to have Malik Neighbors playing at wide receiver. Man, it's a good offense to have. I think he can do some damage with them. To have a stability too, and the Giants are known for having a coach that has some stability to them. Except the last couple ones that they've had. But to have a coach that they know is going to bring that stability could help that market, that New York market up for
them. Yeah, all good points. All right, cool. And just to update you on that last one, Jeff Hafley, former Boston College head coach and Packers defensive coordinator, was hired today by the Miami Dolphins. Excuse me, need to get some water. Miami Dolphins to replace Mike McDaniel. So we see that there, and we'll see how he is able to. He was just at Boston College a few years ago, so he's only been in the NFL a couple of years. So we'll see how that's able to translate. Any thoughts on other coaching changes so far?
The Sean McDermott firing to me is a big firing.
Yes,
I've been watching. Like I said, I've been keeping up with sports today, and a lot of people were saying, he wasn't the one that threw the ball and had 4 turnovers. That was on Josh Allen. Josh Allen, what I'm saying, he did. But we could say, hey, and at the end of the second quarter, man, just take a knee and bring that bitch into the locker room. When they did, they wanted to run a play. You know what I'm saying? Fumble, blah, blah, blah. Rest is history. That's a 3-point game. Once again, it's a swinging point. You lose by 3 in overtime. So I think it's going to be a good pickup for somebody. I think that Sean McDermott will go to a team that has that looks for that continuity. So I look at the Steelers. I look at even the Baltimore Ravens, a team that's going to want to have a coach that has some good tenure to them. We all know the Steelers don't fire any coaches, so I mean, for him to go there, that might be a good pickup for him. But
you think he'll get a head gig?
I think he'll get a head gig quick. I think he probably will be the next coach that gets hired.
I'm thinking Tennessee has to go offense. Arizona, they're just going to rebuild, so that could be a spot.
Yep.
I'm trying to think who else is open.
Steelers. You have the The Ravens are still open.
Ravens, yeah. I mean, yeah. I
The
figure he'd be
Raiders,
a DC Raiders too, yeah.
the Raiders, Omar. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure. What do you think, man? Would you like a Sean McDermott in there, Omar?
He looking at something. He ain't paying attention.
Okay.
I actually have. I'm listening. Actually, actually have pictures of the coaching searches, and I was trying to find. Let me see if this is the one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, here we go. So this is a list of the. This was before. This was from last week. So obviously Kevin Stefanski got hired already and stuff like that. But these were the coaching possibilities and the teams that they have interviewed for so far. So you can see that there. So hey, I think that John Harbaugh is always a good hire to have that experience as a coach for that young team. They can use that veteran coach presence. And I think that he will be good for the Giants. I think that, like I said, they have a good defense already in place, which he can capitalize on. And if he can raise up the offense, with the young players, I think they can be a definite team in the future. Stefanski, I'm not as sold on either yet. Yes, he was dealt a bad hand in Cleveland. Granted, that is true. You get saddled with, the alleged, massage therapist, assaulter, then you're going to probably have some issues, especially if it's such a big contract that it hampers your team from making other moves to make your team better. And that includes until recently just putting some pieces around Myles Garrett in the draft. Shout out to Carson Schwarzenberger, who will be your MVP, UCLA Bruin, my friend.
He's a beast.
But so I'm just not sold on him yet. I would have, if I was Atlanta, I would have rather just kept Raheem Morris another year. It just doesn't inspire me that much. It just really doesn't inspire me. So we'll see, though. Maybe maybe I'm wrong. Maybe a change of destination is what he needed. Yes.
But you didn't answer the question. What would your thoughts be on Sean McDermott coming to the Raiders, to your team?
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I don't think he should have been fired by the Bills at all. I don't know how you make that change when he went 12-5 and then made the playoffs. You make that change after an 8-8 season or 8-9 season, whatever. But they chose to do it. I think his personality style bristles with a lot of players. So there's only certain teams that he would fit in. I do not know that the Vegas culture would be one that would be conducive to that sort of coach. I think you need someone a little more, boisterous, ebullient, jubilous, all these adjectives you can use for someone that he's just a little, I don't know. I just don't think he'd be, would I be opposed? He's a good coach, so I guess you can try it. But there's other coaches out there. I'd rather take a shot on somebody younger, that maybe, and I mean, a lot of them are retreads, so I guess there's not much of choices as we look at the list right here on the screen. Cliff Kingsbury, I'd probably rather take with an offensive mind. He was a great offensive coordinator and
1 year,
in college too, though. He was good in college. He led a lot of good offense. So.
That's the problem. The rumors, the college offense. He has one good year being the OC, and then you see what happened in Arizona. You see what happened in Washington. They figure his stuff out. Unfortunately, so
that's true.
I think he's best bet in college. To be honest with you, I mean he'll bring a spark for a year to a team, but I don't know. To me, the best offensive mind would be McDaniel.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be opposed to maybe bringing. I don't think he would necessarily work with us, but I wouldn't necessarily be opposed. He's the kind of personality I think would work well. If it was my choice personally, I would probably go after. Well, no, you can't do that. Never mind. Looking at the list, I was gonna say Robert Salah because of his defense and Salah. But with the number one quarterback being picked off the board, you're going to need an offensive coach. So that's not going to work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You guys definitely need an offensive guy, my opinion. But Well, unless they do something different, just trade down and just go for next year. Because this offensive,
I've been saying that for a long time now. So
it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea because this class isn't really a quarterback class, but we can say that, and then each quarterback get picked. We have great years. So
sure. I mean, yeah,
it happened.
There's nothing that we are not going to be. No one. I mean, look at Tom Brady and how low he was picked and what he turned out. As much as I hate that, that
I think his who was it? But I looked at Brock Purdy's class, and that class is terrible. I mean, it's like Kenny Pickett and Skylar Thompson, like a lot of journeymen in that class. So.
Yeah. And Omar too for you, man. If Mendoza's the guy that you guys
here's the other list I was looking for.
Then Sean McDermott would be the best quarterback, best coach for you because they have similarities between Josh Allen and Mendoza. You know what I'm saying? A pocket passer, that's a big quarterback that can throw the ball. You know what I'm saying? There might be somebody that can fill that need for you. That's got some weapons.
That list that we were just looking at is the list of coaches who have, are older or had already been coached, retreads as we call them. This is more of your younger, possible first-time coaches, all first-time coaches. So this would be your rookie coaches. Clint Kubiak here could be an option for the Raiders. Jeff Hafley obviously already hired. I got this a couple days ago. Who else on this list? Possibly Mike LaFleur, although he's still very young. Go ahead, Dirty Mojo.
And then, like I said, I said Tommy Reese, man. Please don't come to Atlanta as your offensive coordinator. Please, God.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that is a look at the options here in terms of coaches. Those are the ones that have been getting interviews and who they have interviewed or have been requested by. I know Clutch B said that his Steelers were probably going to hire Jesse Minter, but they have not requested them yet thus far.
When I saw Vance Joseph and all those interview private requests for Vance Joseph, well, that ain't number Rooney Rule 101 right there. That's all that is. That ain't number Rooney Rule. Get in and out, brother. We don't need you.
I mean, you're not wrong, and that is the unfortunate part about that rule is that someone has to be that. And so if there are all other white coaches interviewed, you kind of know you were the one.
He don't even get the Zoom meeting. He gets the Skype one. Nobody use Skype anymore. He uses the Skype.
They might be like, hey, put on speakerphone. Go ahead. What you want? Meeting. So what are your ideas? I put the Rooney Rule, I would say it's two things for me. It's if you don't want me, don't interview me. But the only good thing I see out of the Rooney Rule is that at least other teams know that you are in the running of wanting to be a head coach. So at least your name is out there. I would say that. That's the only thing I like about the Rooney Rule.
Yeah, Abe would say that's how Tomlin got hired because of the Rooney Rule, right? Yeah. So, I mean, but I kind of got to the point, and maybe this year might be a little different because there's so many head coaching positions available that you could talk your way and somebody really like it. Because I really see out of the list that you showed, Omar, there's really nobody that kind of jumps out at you except Clint Kubiak right now that jumps out at you that says like, we really need this guy. And you kind of knew in the past when teams were, you would hear it on the television, and you would hear a lot of analysts saying that this guy is this team's guy. Like, okay, so they're just bringing these other guys in for bullshit, shits and giggles. They hired him, so. Yeah, I'm the same way with you, Dion. If you're not going to hire me, don't even waste my time. If I'm a Rooney Rule guy, don't waste my
time. 120%.
Yeah, and again, I would not mind Kubiak at all. I think that would be good for the Raiders. But again, a lot of those coaches are young and still need some more experience. So we'll see. Either way. As I mentioned, everything will be on Tom Brady, and there are reports that Tom Brady will be at the national championship tonight that we're going to talk about. Apparently, a bunch of coaches are going to try to meet up with him in an effort to talk about the Raiders' job. So as much as I dislike Tom Shady, very much so, he is partly the bane of my existence. I will say that a lot of people want to be associated with the Raiders now because he's an owner. So there are more coaches that want to, there are more free agents. There are more people that would want to be involved because Tom Brady is involved. And that's something that I have to admit because, I mean, it's true. Before we weren't necessarily a place that coaches wanted to go. We were considered a black hole, literally, not just our fan base, but a black hole for coaches to go where they would, have to regain their career afterwards. So to at least see coaches wanting the job now, and knowing that Tom Brady is that reason, then, hey, if that brings some betterment to my franchise in the long run, then as much as I dislike him, I can overlook it for that. And that's a change because at one point in time, I said if he became the owner, I wouldn't be a fan anymore, but I couldn't do that because I've loved the Raiders my whole entire life, and I would hate myself if I ever became a fan like that, just gave up. So it is what it is. Anyways, make sure you hit that like button. Whether watching now on the replay really helps us out. Make sure you subscribe at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS. We are going to move it in to the national championship game coming on in just about 45 minutes. Yes, we will have the college football championship, the Indiana Hoosiers 15-0 storybook, season for them trying to go undefeated. They are the 7.5-point favorites here going in to Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. So technically Miami Hurricanes here playing a home game, although Indiana's quarterback Fernando Mendoza grew up in Miami and went to high school there. 13-2 Miami Hurricanes. Dirty Mojo, you have correctly predicted them through this whole playoff to get to the championship. The over-under is 46.5 here. This is one of the most improbable championship games ever. Indiana was a 150-1 long shot before the season. Hurricanes a little better at 40-1, but still pretty long odds there. Sports professor fact here, since 2014, only 2 teams with preseason odds longer than 40-1 have won the championship. That would be your 2014, the Ohio State Buckeyes, and 2023 Washington Huskies. As well, over the past 10 seasons, teams favored by 7.5 or more points, as Indiana is tonight, have won 75% of the games, which is a pretty significant stat. Dirty Mojo, what say you?
So listen, man, I've said it, I guess since we started talking more and more about the college playoffs, right? I am pulling for Miami, and I talked to you guys why. I have a young man that I coach. Shout out to Brennan Burton that's playing out there for Miami. I'm cheering for you guys to do it. But I also want to talk about Carson Beck. And Carson Beck is the guy that is going to have to win this game for the Miami Hurricanes. They got a phenomenal phenom of a wide receiver at Malachi Toney, the freshman, who's supposed to be at home right now in biology class. Or Chem getting ready for homecoming because you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, good for that kid's out there doing what he needs to do. They got to get the ball in his hand. Now, here's the thing. The last time Indiana played a top 5 defense, they only put up 13 points. It was 13 or 16, and that was against Ohio State, right? With Mesidor and with Bain and the Miami Hurricanes defense, they have to perform, man. I know that 46.5 over-under seems low as far as the way that the Hoosiers have been playing and as far as what Miami can do. But I do like where those numbers are at. I think the game is going to be a lot closer, a lot more exciting, not so much explosive. I don't think it's going to be some Georgia TCU 65-7 type bullshit game. I also don't think it's going to be like the last 2 teams that Indiana has played by complete dominating blowouts. I do think that Carson Beck does have the experience. He is going to be able to settle in. I think he's going to be able to control that offense. I think they're going to be able to do well. If I'm going ahead and I'm giving a score, if you want me to give it a score prediction right now, I think Malachi Toney is going to have a fantastic game today. I think they're going to give him the ball a lot. But I also think that Mendoza and Indiana are going to do a lot. They're running back Kaleon Black right out here from
Yep.
Virginia Beach,
Salem.
Virginia, from Salem High School. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I'm cheering for, at this point, there's nobody that I really want to lose or win. To me, I'm just looking for a good game, and it'd be hats off to either team that wins the championship game. But I think this one is going to be a close one. Omar, I'm going to say the score is going to be 27-24. For you.
27-24, the U. All right. Close game there that you got. And no doubt Tony, has been great for Miami. Caught 99 passes for 1,089 yards, 9 touchdowns on the season. He can run it. He also does punt returning. So he is definitely a weapon for Miami. You mentioned also when you were looking at Indiana, you were mentioning Kalen Black, 961 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns on the season. That is definitely going to help out Mendoza in this game. But both quarterbacks have weapons that they can rely on. So we'll see. I do agree. I don't think it's going to be that much of a shootout, but I don't think it'll be a low-scoring game either, as some people have said. Let's look at their grades, and then we'll get to Clubber D. The Indiana Hoosiers having their offensive grades by PFF are first in offense and second in defense, so really good there. And Miami is sixth in offense and third in defense. So Miami is better in both offense and defense according to Pro Football Focus. What is your thoughts, Clubber D?
Well, to this game actually to me boils down to how Indiana has, I'm not going to say manipulated, but used the NIL in their favor. This is a team with people with young men at the age between like 22, 23, 24-ish. They're an older team. They're a more experienced team. So they got their players that are well coached. They've been in that system for a little while. Well, at least some of them have. And Miami's a lot younger. You got Tony, like Lamar said, this guy should be going to a prom or Sadie Hawkins dance, wherever they got nowadays in high school. But he should still be in high school.
Military ball.
Yeah. He should be playing truth or dare with some girls. Anyways, but the fact that he's performing on this high level is just out of this world. He's going to be an amazing professional. He keeps it up. But the thing is, it's going to be Mendoza versus Beck. Beck has been in these situations,
yes.
and it shows poise. Mendoza has not cracked yet as a starter. He has looked great, and each time we throw a curveball at him or some type of a hurdle or obstacle, he has jumped over it and moved out the way. You know what I'm saying? He's done all the necessary things to make him the number one pick and make Indiana this top school. And remember, this is Indiana we're talking about. Indiana. Bob Knight ain't throwing no chair at nobody. This is football, not basketball. So for me personally, I'm going to go with the more experienced team. I'm going to go with Indiana. I think it's going to be high scoring. And the last game against Ole Miss, Lacey had a bum hamstring. He didn't really look that well after that touchdown run. Yeah. So Black's coming in healthy, and I don't see the same type of injuries because of Ole Miss. Ole Miss was in that game. Okay, they could easily won that game. So the way Indiana has been looking, the way they're shutting the door on a lot of other programs because people are doubting them just because they're Indiana. I think this is going to be the icing on the cake, the cherry on top of the icing, taking out somebody like Miami who has the history, the lineage of championships in the early 2000s and 80s and 90s, and now they're back at the top of the hill. You got a team like Indiana who said, I've been here. You're lucky you got here. Now I'm going to prove the world that you're lucky you got here. But I got to be in a close game, but very high scoring. I'm going to go with 44-37. Weird number, Indiana.
Dion, that's a great point. But, I do want to go back and I want to give props where props due. Trinidad Chambliss is a guy that it was hard for them to get at. And I think that Mendoza's not going to bring to the table what Trinidad Chambliss did. They couldn't really attack him like they wanted to. So I think Mendoza will be sitting in the pocket more, and that's going to let Mesidor and Bain be able to attack him more and pressure him more. And they'll be able to – I think they're going to get to him more than Trinidad Chambliss. They were able to get Trinidad Chambliss. So, saying if you look at that type of situation, yes, we can say that they put up a lot of points, but – man, hats off to that one young man from Ole Miss.
My only semi-counter to that, I could be totally wrong, would be the offensive line and their maturity. Since they're, like I said, this team's a little older, they're well coached. And I don't know if they'll be missing blocks and things like that, like Ole Miss was doing. But I could be totally wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's why I go back and I look at the game against
Coaching.
Ohio State. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
That game against Ohio State, we're sitting here thinking like, okay, no way. But then what they did to Alabama, and then they just completely steamrolled the last two teams. I mean, Oregon. I mean, it was
Oregon,
like,
yeah.
holy shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
they're clicking.
we did not think of it to be like this, but because Miami's defense is so
It's good.
They're
It's
so
good.
good. I think that they can slow them down. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So we got to see. We'll see. But
I can't
with
wait.
you.
It's
I
gonna
think
be
it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be some blowout. I think it'll be similar to last year's game between Ohio State and Notre Dame, like one of those types of games, man.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. As you mentioned, Miami's defense is what's going to give the Hurricanes a puncher's chance here, right? That's what's going to keep them in this game. That's what's probably going to, if they win, get them the win. But we can all say, and I just gave you and I know it was just Pro Football Focus, but I'm sure all the stats will belie as well, that Indiana has been the best team in the country all season long, which is why they're undefeated. And that being said, they are going to.
I didn't even pick Indiana on the map.
You know, I'm just saying, it's Indiana. Just like we're talking about Indiana, which is just so wild, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be able to
That's
pick them out on the map.
crazy. Yeah, I mean, a blue blood basketball school, right? Who would ever think that? Yep.
Wow, that's crazy.
But Miami is going to pressure them at it, even a 7.5 point underdog. Their elite pass rush is going to try to find ways to get him to the ground as much as possible, make him feel that pass rush between who y'all mentioned, Reuben Bain Jr. and Akeem Meisdor. Like, those are two dudes that are just beasts. But we have to look at what you said, right? Mendoza playoff passer rating of 140.9.
Wow.
So that's pretty fucking good, right? And also, I want to give you some sports professor stats here. Mendoza has had 5 games this season with more touchdowns than incompletions. No other quarterback in the past.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Like I saw that stat also, and I didn't really think about it. And I'm thinking about it right now. What you're saying, that is fucking nuts.
That's
5 games. 5 games with more touchdowns than incompletions. And you know what's more remarkable than that? And listen to this. No other college quarterback in the past 25 years has done it more than twice. He did it 5 times.
Yeah. This game's going to come down to this quarterbacks, man. It is going to come down to Beck and Mendoza. Obviously, their supporting cast is going to be able to help them out through the game, but it's going to be all talks about those two guys. And those two guys, potentially could be, the top quarterbacks that are going to be taken in this year's NFL draft. So it's something to look for. It's something to look at. And I'm just really looking forward to an exciting game, man.
Yeah, same here.
Mm-hmm.
And
go ahead.
With them playing at home, that's another thing Indiana has to prove, that they're top dogs to play the big bad wolf, at home, basically. Because I don't know how many Cornhuskers are coming on down. Not Cornhuskers. Is it Corn in Indiana?
That's Nebraska. Nebraska.
Cornhuskers. Whatever they have in Indiana, I don't know. Hoosiers. How many Hoosiers are coming down?
What is it? Yeah. I also want to say this too. You know what I'm saying? We talked about Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss, right? And why did he leave Ole Miss? Because he said, I'm not going to get any championships at Ole Miss. There's no way that kids are going to want to come to Mississippi, right? Indiana, man, I hate to say this, man, but this might be your only chance, and I don't know how long, to get a national championship in football, because when it comes down to it, where are kids going to want to go, even with NIL? Are you going to go to Indiana? Or are you going to go to a lot of other premier colleges in the country that have the location that you might enjoy?
Well, I mean, they were going to Ole Miss. Those 5 stars were going to Ole Miss.
Yeah,
it's going to be who's got that money. That's what it's going to be. Who has that money? And this NIL, like we mentioned earlier, what's his name? Trinidad. He wanted to stay again. We talked about he's 24, 25, and then you got another quarterback who they denied, or they approved it.
They approved it. I can't remember his name.
He's gonna be like
Omar. You might need to look that up for us.
27. He's gonna be 20. He's like 25 or 24. Like this is wild that you're this age. Because I remember Miami had a tight end last year, or last year, the year before. He was like 20, 27. Still playing in college. I mean, we thought Chris Winkie, because he did that Mormon trip and came back. That was
Chris Winkie.
I mean, he was balding, man. He had a male pattern bald. See, he looked like Arn Anderson throwing the ball back in the day, with the comb over. Like, how you got a comb over? You in college, Florida State. But anyways, so we're gonna start seeing that more and more. And I'm not gonna hate on the kids. I think the boosters and everybody has it both ways. They're getting it both ways because, like, you want these kids to stay because you can make more money off them. So not just go to the league. And these kids are like, well, if I stay, I'm getting more money. So what's the point of me going to the league if I can make more money in college? So,
these kids will make more money in college than they will in the NFL, especially somebody like Trinidad Chambliss. You get drafted in the second or third round, you're going to make what, $2 million a year,
depending on the position.
You stay in college. Well, Trinidad Chambliss, stay in college, they're going to pay you $10-15 million to stay at Ole Miss.
The youngin from Oregon, they were like, you're gambling. He's gambling money because he could be the second overall quarterback pick, but he doesn't want to play for the Jets. Going back to college, and now he can gamble and not even, he might not even be a top pick next year. You never know. So is it worth it? I mean, I don't know what Phil Knight's offer him, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Dirty Mojo, you mentioned NIL versus recruiting, and yes, they may not be the hotbed for recruiting as your Georgia Bulldogs or an Alabama Crimson Tide or those other schools will continue to be forever, just because they have that reputation, and that doesn't easily go away unless you have a few bad seasons a la Clemson. And we saw that with Dabo Sweeney. Thought you would get there at some point there, buddy boy. Twice as many transfers in the past 2 weeks than in the previous 4 years combined for Clemson. So Dabo Sweeney finally decided he needed to modernize his program and get with the transfers. But
jobs on the line.
Exactly. But that doesn't necessarily mean as much in the age of NIL, right? Where you can go out and buy players. So while Indiana had half and half around, I don't remember the percentages exact. I believe it was like 60-40 NIL to recruiting on their roster. And while critics will point out that they are leaning on a lot of 4th, 5th, and 6th year players, right? That's going to hurt them in the future. This, at least a little bit, should help them that they made the national championship. Just that value alone of making it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The NIL money across the board is still equal. It's still even, if you want to say, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm telling you, hey, Dion, I'm recruiting you to the University of Florida, and we're going to pay you $3 million, or you want to go to Indiana, and they're going to pay you $3 million. Most, it's still, the money is what the money is. Yes. Now, if it's a disparity, if there's difference in money, then yes, I can see that. But anybody in a different program that has that prestige title to them, right? The ones that we always want to go to, right? If they put up the same amount of money that Indiana is going to do, the chances are that Indiana is going to lose out to them. Now, I will say this. Growing up playing NCAA, right? You used to do the recruiting, right? And there was a couple things, right? How close are you to home?
Oh my God!
Right? But think about what kids do. Kirby Smart does not recruit. He does not recruit 500 miles outside of his outside of the school, because kids get homesick. They want to go home. They want to do things, right? You got the prestige of the school. You got the coaches, right? You got the location, right? You got maybe even education, huh?
You got Deion Coe, whatever, the number one linebacker out of Virginia.
That's within 500 yards. I think
within 500.
It's like 4 something. It's like 480 something like that.
Close.
No,
I got to counteract your Indiana. But go ahead.
If you're a 4 or 5 star, then yes, he's going to probably go anywhere for you. But if you're one of those guys in the area that you know what I'm saying, they're not going to go too far for you. But when you would play those games, I think kids still look at how close it is to home, because I want my family and friends to come see me play. What's the television market like? What's the girls like? You know what I'm saying? These guys are still young men. Do they have the potential to win a national championship or make it into the playoffs? And yes, we could probably say Indiana is that team, because I think Cignetti is a good coach, and I think he can recruit well and he can coach well. So that will help them. But I think against a lot of the bigger prestigious schools, if you turn on NCAA right now and you put it on, you put Indiana up, it's going to have 3 stars for prestige, and all the other big schools are going to have 5 stars. So you got to look at it like that too. I think that they can. So I would say that for them to be a back-to-back team is far. It's it's a far worse situation than a Miami Hurricanes to go back to back, Ohio State to go back to back, and Tennessee to go back to back. If Indiana were to go back to back, that would be the ultimate all-time college football. Woof.
Well, I would say this: one, Eric White, don't send me old videos doing the show. Two, I will say this: you said, would you go to Indiana? Or would you rather go to Florida? Who the hell wants to go to Columbus, Ohio, over going to Florida? Okay, Indiana is winning. If they win the national title, okay, then that gives you more incentive to want to go to Indiana over Florida, even though it ain't nothing popping in Indiana. Okay, because they're good now. They've been good the last few years, ever since Coach got there. So that's my only counter to that, because you can't tell me that Terrell Pryor or who came from Pennsylvania or some other Henderson came from Richmond, Highland Springs, I believe, running back with the Patriots, went to Ohio State.
No, I think it was like Cosby or something. Yeah, but I know what you're talking about.
No, Travion Henderson.
Yeah,
no,
it wasn't Highland Springs.
It wasn't Highland Springs. It was the other one down there. It was in Richmond, though. Regardless,
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me that, hey, do you want to come to Tallahassee? Hey, do you want to come to Florida? Hey, you want to come to Austin, Texas, play for Texas? Oh no, I want to go to Columbus, Ohio. That's fun.
Yeah, but you gotta see what I said though. You gotta see what I said though. The prestige of the school. Yes, Columbus, Ohio. Over
Indiana,
Florida,
if they win, they'll have that.
That's why I said if they don't win this, it's going to be hard for them
if they
to
don't,
get it back.
I think it won't, because they're already high on the recruiting already this year. They did like number 1 and number 2. They're up there
really?
recruiting, and even with the transfers, because I had a tracker, that thing that's in the chat of the transfer portal. I think Texas Tech's number 1 at that, but Indiana's a sexy pick for a lot of players just because of the coaching, and they put in a position to get to that next level or just get showcased in the right way. And besides, all the guys are like 30 years old, so they're getting old.
they got the electrician job to go to after the game, huh?
If you can't buy beer, you can't play for us.
Oh Lord Jesus! Oh God! Nope.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. I just feel like they're the sexy pick right now. So Indiana, I love the coach. I love what he's doing. His old program's still doing his thing. So it is what it is. And nobody ask you, Flo. Calm it down. No one wants to worry about the Red Raiders. Okay, so I'm making it about you.
Yeah, let's get some comments here. Salute, Papi Chunyeyo. Who is he? Club D.
Oh, is everybody? People, listen up. Put your ear to the speaker, okay? If you don't know, now you're going to know. If you're going to know everything. Heavy on the Papi, light on the yayo, none other than Papi Chun Yayo. That's the home.
Yeah.
Oh, you.
Let's go, my brother. Salute to you. Actually, we've got it 1-1. Dirty Mojo has Miami. He has throughout this whole playoff. Credit to him. Cupboardy has Indiana going, and we're about to talk about mine here. But once we finish these comments, we'll get that. We got the game coming on here in about 25 minutes. They got to do the national anthem, all that. T-Roy, brother, salute. Shout out to you. Oh, you cheering for the Canes tonight, huh? All right.
The Rube.
Cheering for the
Ruben.
Yeah, it's a Rube.
That's probably very true.
Ruben's a big time. Yeah, he behind me all the way.
Probably very, very true.
I gotta hit him up.
Flo,
too.
Shout out Flo and Canteen at the Bottom Line Sports. Indiana jumps on Kane early, hold a 7-10 point lead going into the second half, pulls away in the second half. Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate as to what could possibly happen. I actually think that is probably about the way it would go. I think it'll be a little closer than 7-10. I think it'll be 3 points in the first half, because usually it takes, especially in these big games, bright lights, it takes the players a little bit more time to score that ball. Now that takes away from the not the TCU game that you talked about earlier, Lamar, that was 63 points, but that one notwithstanding. Red Raiders, hey,
I thought he was saying it was going to be 7-10 at halftime. Oh, I misread that. It's 7.
No, that is what he's saying. I'm saying it's going to be a closer, like 3 points.
No, he said
game.
no. He said that. He said that
lead.
Yeah, the Indiana will have a 7-10 point lead, not the score being 7-10.
Yeah, not the score being 7-10.
Yeah, 7 point. Yo, 7.
Okay.
No, I do think they will have a lead. I think it'll be 3 probably. Not 7-10. Could be 7. But yeah, that is what he's saying. Yep. Raiders at the top of the portal. Look, I think I know for a fact, and I can probably speak for Clubber D on this as well. UCLA, Virginia Tech, these teams have risen up the portal due to new coaches, new interest. And yeah, UCLA's in the top 15. Because they got the James Madison coach, Bob Chaney, and he brought all of his great players from James Madison and then recruited so well in the transfer portal. We've been picking up so many good players from Oklahoma, a bunch of blue blood, because again, new coaches inspire new confidence, and more players may want to go sign, with you
Let's just help the Red Raiders. Let's just hope they recruited. Let's just hope they got some transfer portal guys for offense. We know that they got the defensive guys last year, but that offense
we talked about that. Yeah, we talked about that.
I mean, they were like, "Damn, did you pitch the base? Get your ass whooped like that." Like I put it like this. We good job. Flo, he posts every goddamn Red Raider. No one else gets picked up. Only Red Raiders. Anyways, looking at the thing, so they spent estimated like $5 million. They're number one. Indiana's number two, spending 5.5 in the NIL. Then you got A&M, Louisville, and Virginia Tech at number 5, spending about 4.7. And I know we got a donor. LSU's right under us. We got a donor or magical $20 million, and James Franklin has been not even at gunpoint, at crumble cookie point, taking all the Penn State people. If you know the joke I just put in right there. They've been taking all of Penn State's people, from the quarterback to the ex-top 5-star tight end. And also we're taking a lot of Ohio State defensive linemen and Missouri's ex-5-star defensive end. And the thing I like that James Franklin is doing, he's getting these kids with 4 years eligibility. Saying not these one-hit wonders, but at least guys with a couple years on them. And, hopefully they produce. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, quarterback.
And shout out to you and Canteen as well. I believe y'all have a show Wednesday. Check out the new Bottom Line Sports Wednesday. Flo and Canteen, blessings to y'all, success in the future. But yeah, T-Roy says, y'all know Ruben and Alberto, big Kane fans. If not now, another 21 years. And that's true. Miami, last time they were here, 2001, but Indiana's never been here. Go ahead, Dirty Mojo. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I rubbed my eye. I'm sorry. Yeah, but no, you're absolutely right. No, you're right though, man. I mean, I don't think it'll be 21 years again, though, because with the whole college football playoffs, I think there will be a team. Yeah, in the NIL, the playoffs, I think there'll be a team that's a perennial playoff contender with Miami. So that's what I'm actually excited about. What I do love about the college football is that we'll have teams. You do want to see the teams, though. I do want to see some schools jump around and get in there, and some of the schools get out of there. So yeah, man, I look for Miami to just basically reload again.
They weren't supposed to be in it. Remember, they weren't supposed to be in it. You know what I'm saying? This is more justification.
At the beginning of the year, they were. At the beginning of the year, they were.
They were at the beginning, but at the end of the year, they didn't win the ACC. It's not like they deserved. Obviously, didn't really be in there. You got Notre Dame fans, crying, and they're like, "Oh well, we're not gonna do a bowl." Like, well, you got to have an easy schedule. You should have won. So, this is just more grounds to have more teams in, possibly, or just have teams that don't win their conference or whatever.
1890s, Jesus Christ.
And we'll talk about that too. We'll talk about, actually, we can talk about expansion right now. They had the vote last night on if they wanted to expand. They declined to expand, so now they will not vote again until next December. So that means we will have a 12-team playoff next year. Again, the other two options right now is a 16-team playoff put up by the SEC's Greg Swanky, and then a 24-team playoff put up by the Big Ten's Tony Paletti. So what do y'all think about that?
It's all about this. And what's going to happen is something's going to go down like this year again at the end of the year in 2026, where there's going to be a team crying that we should have been in here. We should have did this. Well, you shouldn't have lost to Western Illinois State University, and you would have fucking been in the playoffs, right? So that's what's going to happen. It's going to eventually come down to it, because it's all about those dollars. As long as the NIL keeps going up, they're going to want to make more money to recruit to recoup what they're paying out for their schools. But I do think that, you did hear some of the guys talked about it. I do think that the government is going to get involved and they're going to put a cap on this. You heard them saying that they need to start doing something like that. So these kids are getting paid, but we got to cap it some way, somehow. I think that's what's going to end up happening. But yeah, watch somebody lose out this year.
All you got to do is have some incentives. Ask Terrell Pryor out in Columbus to get some tattoos. You know what I mean? Like they can do something like that. Get some tattoos for play.
Now,
you know what would be cool, Omar?
When you look at it, this is.
You know what would be cool that they did?
Please.
If they kind of did the conference, like a conference playoff, and then the winner of the conference makes it to like a playoff for the national champion. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like they do in basketball, so that they still make it to the tournament. But if you have like a 8-team tournament in each conference, and then the winner of those makes it to like the Final Four, or I don't know if they can have a fifth one, whatever to do it. That would be kind of cool to see. Have your own little conference playoff to go to the national championship playoff.
I could hear that. And we know at some point that they are going to expand, as you mentioned. And Clubber, you mentioned 24 may be too much. This is what that would look like this year. So I found this online. This is what you would be looking at in terms of the playoff matchup. So you would have teams in like USC, Pitt would be in there. You would also have Texas making it. BYU, who had a big complaint, would get in there. Utah, Clutch Bees, Michigan would get in there. Duke and UVA both get in. So this is, again, this could maybe a little bit too much because then you're letting in the peripherals in, but some of those teams may say they decide to be there or they deserve to be there, rather. The 16-team playoff may make that a little better, but still teams are going to complain either way, even if you have this huge 24-team bracket. But the thing that Dirty Mojo, you mentioned, and what really matters here is the money. That's all that matters here, because when you're looking at a 12-team playoff, a 12-team playoff generated this year, or is expected to generate $7.8 billion. And so when here's your sports professor stat. I did the math for everybody. When you extrapolate that out, which just means to forecast, and you say for 16 teams, let me look at my notes. 16 teams would generate then $9.75 billion, and a 24 team would double that and generate $15.6 billion.
What else does this do? This is going to water down the regular season.
Of course.
When it was just a 4-team playoff, those teams had to fight tooth and nail to win those games in order to make it to the playoffs. You make this shit a 24. You could be a 3-loss team, and it's not as college football. To me, I like to see the 1-loss, 2 losses, and the 0-loss teams in the playoffs. I don't want to see these 3-loss teams in there. So keep it at 12, and 12 I think is fantastic.
So I would say this. So if you're going to do that, then don't they start the voting or the ranking a little later in the season, right?
That's what I said. I made that comment.
But they would have to move it up. I would say to make it, to keep the continuity, to make sure that each team is on track and not hoping and wishing that they make it like Selection Sunday. It's halfway through the season. Okay, this is what we got so far. This is what's going to be. So it give that team, each team's more incentive to keep on winning and not lose or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Not saying they do that on purpose, but you want to keep trying hard if you're on the if you're that 16, that fringe 16, 17 team, that you treat every game as like your last game so you can make it to the playoffs. So but push that up.
That's a good point. And get rid of the preseason ranking. And then what that does too, that makes you have to blow teams out. You can't be winning these games by a field goal at the end of the game. You got to blow teams out like they used to do back in the day to make yourself move up in ranking, man. So you have those better teams that are going to be out there playing harder to get more points scored so that they can, hey man, we beat this team by 45 points. We beat this team by, you know what I'm saying? It'll be like that. But just to go 24 just for shits and giggles to make more money, man.
I'm with you on that. Screw this preseason ranking. After the third game, boom, have that ranking. That way,
figure it out.
From that on, you got to tighten up. No wishing and praying that you're Tulane saying we got to make it. Then you get there and you get smacked. No, it's smoked.
And actually, let me make that even better, because the first 3 weeks are usually non-conference games, which are blowovers. It should be like week 7 or 8 when they're putting this actually out for the first time. Once you actually know where teams stand, not after
Yeah.
they play a bunch of, Dick, Tom, and Jerry's.
Because you can
pause on the
compare.
first one.
You can compare a
Wow,
lot of
pause.
stuff.
Wow, Dick,
How many
who's
points that
that?
they're giving up, how many points they're scoring,
Tracy?
things like that.
I wrote down some old timey names I found. So I went through the 1940 because I was very interested. So I went back to see who played in this championship game. That I wish Peach was here for this. That the Skins got blown out 73 to
Milky
nothing.
Way Johnson.
First of all, Sammy Ball, not allowed at dinner afterwards. Sammy Ball was the running back for the Redskins. Great player.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
George Hallis was the Bears coach.
Okay.
And Sid Luckman was the Bears QB. I looked at the box score. It was run after run. It was like 75-yard run, 5-yard run, 18-yard run. But the forward pass was in play, and he did pass.
They used to back up like this.
150 yards or something.
They backpedaled when they backed up for a quarter.
Caleb did the same thing.
Sideways.
Caleb did the same thing. That touchdown pass. Caleb did the same thing. That fourth-quarter touchdown pass.
That Tecmo Bowl reference, bro. I'm not.
Yeah. That's what we did.
I now hear the Tecmo Bowl fucking. I hear the fucking beat when you snap the ball.
Well, I tell you, Wilbur Marshall. God, are you black? Jesus.
So a couple good names here. Bulldog Turner was an All-Pro center for the Bears. Eggs, yes, I said Eggs. Eggs Mackey was a linebacker that played for the Skins. And I found some others when I but I went into a deeper rabbit hole on old names in sports, and baseball has the best. Listen to some of these. Thunderbolt Patterson.
I know that, yeah.
Smokey Joe Wood. Let's see. Schoolboy Rowe, which is tremendous.
Schoolboy
Baby Rowe. Doll Jacobson. That's great. Spotswood Poles. That's a pause. His last name was Poles. And how about Chicken Hawks, Rabbit Warsler, Scoops Carney, Candy LaChance, all real old baseball player names.
Omar really had to focus to say all these names, Dion.
I know, right? There's too much S's in that motherfucker.
You know what? Screw both of y'all, motherfucker. Anyways.
But I can hear you. I can hear you.
That shit was a struggle.
I
was enunciating.
I saw you wipe the camera off a couple times too. Like.
How
about that? Take that.
The old school.
Yeah,
I like that. I'm about to start using that one. I haven't seen that.
Peach is missing out on a good fun night. What a
he's snoring. Allegedly.
We got about 10 minutes till the game starts. We still got a little bit more time to talk. Flo says I like 12 teams. Shouldn't let more than 16 teams in. I agree. I think 12 should be the max. Honestly, I wouldn't even go to 16, but I can understand that some of those group of 5 teams want more of a chance. And yes, go ahead.
You know what, Albert? I'll say this. The 12 team, yes, but I would do similar to what they do in basketball. Have a play-in. Have maybe those 4 teams or 2 teams. Have them playing to be the next 2 teams in. But I don't know if it would be 12 or if it would be 14. But we got to have them play in. I wouldn't just immediately go 16.
What bowl would be that? Like, where do you drop the? So these are like citrus, all those bowls, cotton bowls, whatever. What is the line at to where it could be the Left-Handers Anonymous Bowl? Like, what bowl gets that ranking?
Well, Omar, this is what Omar said. Omar gave the numbers. I don't know if he could put that up. He gave the numbers on how much billions of dollars they produce. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure the NCAA can contact some. I don't know. They can contact some company to say, hey, listen, we want to put your name on this playing ball. Hell, what's the name of the people that make the plane? Boeing or something. This is the Boeing Air Force. You know what I'm saying? They can find somebody that's going to want to sponsor that game because they know that, hey, this will be your game every year, and then What you want to know what else too? Those playing games will be excellent games because those guys want to do what? They want to be in that championship playoff joint. They could be the best games to fucking watch. So
Pinstripe Bowl, playing Yankee Stadium, all those on the same side.
Do something dope. Somebody will pay for that shit and sponsor that fucking game.
I like that.
Yeah. Let's see. Here you go. Let me put the numbers up for you that you asked for.
Sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
So 12 teams, 7.8 billion, 16, 9.75, 24. We're bringing $15.6 billion.
So we're at about 8.5 billion if we had 14 teams, right? With 2 of them playing. I'm sure 2 teams out of $2 billion, about $1 billion of somewhere revenue to go in there. There's some company that's up and coming. That's some company that's making the Amazon Bowl, the fucking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whoever, you know what I'm saying? They'll fucking pay for that shit.
And if it's a big name, you could put it in a big stadium.
You sure can. You sure the fuck can. Play that shit at the fucking
Well, the other thing,
Hall of Fame game or something like that. You know what I mean? That stadium.
Yeah.
And the other thing, if they take the other professor's recommendation and have the second round games played in home stadiums, they're going to sell out those home stadiums, and you're going to make more revenue there if you charge the same price you would at a neutral site. So,
I think the bowls that are the ones that we cherish, the Orange Bowl, the Rose Bowl, you know what I'm saying? Those bowls like that are like that have a lot of, you know what I'm saying, pride to them. I think you keep those for the Final Four, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they could make anything. Like I said, I've been watching these. I'm like, who the Meineke O'Reilly Bowl? Who cares? You know what I'm saying? But if they could be in a bowl, somebody could, Amazon, Walmart, whoever would pay for that shit. And you know,
of course.
I
mean, Snoop Dogg, bless him, has his own bowl game right now. You know, Jimmy Kimmel has his own bowl game, right? They got the Cheez-It Bowl. They got the Pop-Tart Bowl. They got the, the Car Quest Bowl.
Yeah.
They got the Music City Bowl right across the river from where I live. So, I mean, they've got so many bowls you can't even keep up now. But a lot of those bowls are going to go into let's talk about what we talked about a couple weeks ago. If a lot of these teams start opting out of going to bowl games completely because they're not happy that they didn't make the playoffs, as we saw a bunch of teams do this year, that may make these other bowl games irrelevant at some point. Completely irrelevant.
You make a rule. If you opt out, you just said you don't want to play in the bowl next year.
That's a good point, Dion.
So you have to. I like that. So you get punished and you have to lose a year from playing in a bowl. You get one year bowl punishment.
Take your medicine and go play. Stop all that mess.
That's a good point, man.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I think that would definitely keep them from doing that because obviously you don't want to lose out on having a good team and next year.
Kids can't say we're not going to play this game. We want to go to the NFL. No, you got to play. Sorry, we're paying you. We're not paying you to sit out this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a long time, Flo. They are a blue blood basketball school. No one expected them to be here, but head coach Kurt Cignetti has done a bunch of good for them. He turned this program around. This program had the second worst winning percentage of any Power 4 program. 42.4% was their winning percentage. So Indiana was never good, before Kirk Cignetti came along and put into play his style and his influence and things like that. Miami playing for the first time in 23 years. This game coming on in just about 10 minutes. So we're going to finish up here shortly. We really appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, whether they're watching now or on the replay. And what do we got here? Comments. Or if they skip a bowl, they are ineligible for 2 years. Yep. So similar to what Clubber D said, 1 year, 2 years, I guess, whatever you think. I think you start with 1 and move to 2 if the classic flow emoji. Leanna Pryor, shout out, salute for tuning in, says Miami by 14. So salute to that. That's I haven't seen that. I have not seen that score. So
Notre Dame's coach is on there on the pregame show. They just two of them picked Miami. He's about to make his pick now, which is what he picked Miami too. Damn, 3 Miami.
3 Miamis. Interesting. So maybe you're not wrong, Leanna Pryor. Says each team that participates in the bowl game gets between 6 to 8 million. There's tiered payments based on what bowls you're playing in.
Hey, you can do this. You can do this. You can do this because it happens in the NFL, right? Hey, the players get a bonus to make it into a bowl game. Those kids won't want to fucking get out. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're not somebody that's making a high NIL. You make it to a bowl game. Hey, we're gonna pay each kid $30,000-$40,000 for playing in this game. Those kids, I mean, obviously the guys with the higher NILs are gonna, probably get paid more. But there's some kids out there that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars NIL deal. Have a tier system, and those kids will want to fucking play, and they're definitely gonna tell their coaches, "Don't opt out of this game. We can make something. We can make a bonus off this fucking game playing there. Do that for them. If they can get paid now, why not? Why the fuck not?"
Yeah, no, I think that's a good solution as well. As mentioned, Signetti, he's going to need it tonight. He is the master of details, and he will need those details, to coach against this Miami team, especially that Miami defense, as we talked about, both their pass and rush defense, but their pass rush is the best in the country with Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor, as we mentioned. Miami had at least a 40% pressure rate in both of their playoff victories, and they lead the FBS with a 92.5 PF. This is from Pro Football Focus, 92.5 team pass rushing grade, and their 54 sacks led the nation. Now, Mendoza will be protected by one of the best linemen in the country, Carter Smith, second amongst all offensive linemen with a 93.7 pass blocking grade. And as well, Mendoza has performed well under pressure. A 71.7 passing grade under pressure leads all Power 4 signal callers. He's going to have to do that against Bain and Mesidor, as we mentioned, who are really, really good. One potential weakness will be Indiana's right tackle. Their right tackle, Khalil Benson, has a 49.2 pass blocking grade against Power 4 defenses, the lowest of any Hoosier. So that right tackle could be an issue for Mendoza, especially if, he's got people coming from the other side and he may not be able to see them. But Indiana is the more complete team. They play the more consistent brand of football. They steamrolled Oregon. They beat Alabama. They beat Ohio State, who were favored to, before this whole thing came about, at the beginning of the season, at least. Miami's going to need some breaks. They're going to need some things to go their way. Unfortunately, Indiana just doesn't make mistakes, and Miami does. Miami does.
Well,
Miami has.
Omar.
Go ahead.
Hopefully, Indiana watched some film of this last game that Miami played, and if they can get the ball out of Mendoza's hands fast, it'd be good for them. You got to also look at it, man. How many times did Miami drop interceptions? Remember, they were bobbling. They might have dropped four interceptions. Were bobbled around, so they were there. They were in position to make interceptions, but they dropped a lot of them. So look at Mendoza and Indiana to try to get the ball out of his hand really fast and quick to these players. And if Miami can jump on those and get some interceptions, not dropping them like they did against Ole Miss, man, look, guys, this is going to be an exciting game, man. I'm actually looking at this clock like, are we going to go ahead and hit the out call of music? Because I'm ready to go inside and watch.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at it right now. McAfee already said McAfee's the only one who said Indiana.
Yeah.
Yep. And here we go. Sports Fresh stat: 3 Indiana wins decided by single digits. All had in common their opposing defense pressured Mendoza in at least 40% of the snaps. So we'll see as Dirty Mojo mentioned that pass rush. Mendoza repping where he grew up, going against Canes, playing in their home stadium. I am taking the storybook ending. Indiana 31, Miami 21, storybook completed, 16-0, undefeated season. Miami wins it all. So there you go. I picked Miami. Clubber D picked Miami, and Dirty Mojo. I picked Indiana. Clubber D picked Indiana, and Dirty Mojo picked Miami. There you go. Canteen says Miami by 10 as well. So there you go. Couple for Miami, couple for Indiana. Go ahead, put your bets in. Enjoy the game. If we go next weekend, it'll probably be before the Sunday games at like 2 Eastern. So look for us if we decide to do that. We haven't decided if we are or not. If not, make sure you subscribe to Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS. Hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. Hit that like button, whether watching now or on the replay. Find Dirty Mojo on IG at Dirty Mojo. Find Clubber D at Clubber D on YouTube as well, up at that QR code at the top where you can find all of Ball and Buds socials. Subscribe at Ball and Buds, and we'll see you soon.
Reach up there, Dion. I'll see you.
Yeah, we back.
It's
that world heavyweight flow. Championship belt wrapped around my waist, yo. I got that Ric Flair figure 4. slam you on the pavement, that's why they call me Street Pro. Create heat on beat flow. Like Jordan after the second time he three-peated, folks. Get ready, set, let's go. Fight toe to toe, release the flow created by this mic pro. Lights, camera, get low. Action packed, back to back, in fact this monster will grow. Y'all better let him know. Man with the master plan and you have no need to know. You came prepared, now get ready for the show.
Introducing the Ballin' Bud 703 Boys Crew, Clubber D, Dirty Mojo, Shane Peach, and the Sports Professor. Welcome to Sunday Showdown.